Okay, today we're going to talk about LEDs. LEDs are the big rave right now, the greatest trend in lighting. Lighting is evolving very quickly, and LEDs are the wave that is really happening right now. The first light is incandescent. That's what Thomas Edison invented, almost 150 years ago, and then fluorescent came in the past 20, 30, 40 years. We've been using a lot of fluorescent light, and now LEDs are starting to take over. LED stands for light emitting diode, and they are these small little this one has 4 LEDs to replace. This is an MR16. MR16 is the shape, and has the 16 has to do with the diameter. And the R is the reflector, so it's basically a floodlight. And they've replaced a halogen version with this this version. The LEDs. This one is a 3,000 Kelvin light, which is the same as halogen. Halogen is 3,000 Kelvin temperature, which is the color. Okay, and so we like to use 3,000 Kelvin to replace the halogen exactly the same. You'll notice how it has small, skinny prongs on the bottom. That tells me that this is actually a 12-volt MR16. The line power ones have a smaller, or I'm sorry, bigger ones with little knobs on the ends. And those are line powered, which would be 120 volts. This is a 12 volt, so it actually has a transformer somewhere in the line that's going to transform this down to 12 volts before it's used. We can do either. So within the programs, it's just a matter of knowing what they are when we're ordering them. So LEDs, again, LEDs. Everyone's talking about LEDs. We don't use LEDs in too many environments yet, and there's a couple of reasons. One is that the technology is so new that they're having a lot of failures still with them. There are very few that are rated, that we're allowed to use under the Public Utility Commission regulations, because there's so many junky LEDs that are flooding the market and that are failing. So we have very short lists of equipment that we can use. This happens to be a Philips brand. Just because it's Philips doesn't mean that we can use it. There are just a few brands that are Energy Star rated. They have LM79, LM80 regulations. There's a lot of regulations that we have to follow on the LEDs to make sure that we're putting in a product that's going to hold up, and a lot of the products are not yet there. One of the biggest problems with LEDs is heat. They have to have a heat sink. Usually there's aluminum fins. Philips uses a special type of, I guess it's a ceramic or special type of material, but it's diffusing the heat away from it. And what's happening is a lot of the LED fixtures are failing in hot environments. So, like for instance, a pole light, when it's a hot day and the light comes on, it heats up that Cobra head fixture, and the LEDs fail inside. So that's one of the problems with LEDs. The other portion, a lot of the technologies, again, they just aren't tested. They're so new that they haven't had time. Like this one is rated for 40,000 hours. It's so new they haven't had time to let it even run for 40,000 hours, so they don't know whether it's going to start failing at 10,000 hours or 20,000 hours. And that's why we like to use the technologies that have been rated and have been around long enough to actually do that type of testing of that many hours. One of the places that we do like to use LEDs is in the cooler cases in stores. The cooler cases in stores, we're talking about the vertical doors. This would be what you'd see in a liquor store or 7-Eleven or in your grocery store. The nice thing about them, we use these strips, vertical strips of LEDs. There's a bunch of LEDs inside of here. These LEDs, again, they're in a cool environment, so they don't have the type of failures that we're seeing out in the outside. So this is one place where we have put in thousands of LED lights, and we like them. We haven't had a lot of failure with them because of that. One of the reasons that LEDs are coming one of the things that's happening with LEDs right now, LEDs come in colors. If you've ever seen the like the old Christmas lights, the first LED Christmas lights, they're always kind of a blue-white color. That's because LEDs, they were able to manufacture them in that blue color. They also have red LEDs and blue LEDs and green LEDs. But they haven't been able to produce LEDs in the typical lighting colors that we're used to, like 2700 Kelvin or 4100 Kelvin or 5000 Kelvin. Only recently have they started to be able to manufacture the LEDs and get them into those regular white type of light that we can use, for a street light or for an office building or for a pole light or whatever those are. These ones, like this light is a 3000 Kelvin, okay, which is exactly the same again as a halogen light. It's only in the past few years that they've been able to manufacture them to produce light in that type of range. But that's what's coming. LEDs in a few years will probably be changing a lot of the fluorescent that we've put in, changing it over to LED, but not yet. Right now for interior, almost everything we do is fluorescent. We don't use a lot of the LEDs. Again, their expense is up there, and they're more expensive, and they also don't have the reliability that we've been able to find with the fluorescent. Exterior, we like to use induction and not LED, again, mainly because of the failure rate. The induction lights are rated for 100,000 hours. The LEDs are rated for 50,000 hours, but 50,000 hours, it hasn't been tested. They haven't been out long enough to test the equipment to find out if they're really going to last that length. And so we're doing exactly what most of the cities out there are doing, which is using induction instead of LED at this point. But LED's on its way, and certain applications like the MR16, we are starting to put LED versions in, and by the time you see this video, we'll probably be putting in other LEDs as well. But for right now, mostly fluorescent and induction. LEDs only in certain applications like the coolers, and the MR16 is one of the first other applications. Okay, and if you have a customer that needs LEDs, find out why that is. What is their reasoning? Why do they need LEDs? LEDs, we can do it. There are programs now for the LEDs. We're avoiding them for the time being until it's proven that they're working at the levels that we want to use them. Okay, best of luck.